Charles, can we start?
Yes, Vice Chair. Let me display the agenda and the advise whether we allow in the guests first and then we pray and adopt the agenda.
Okay. Junior, how are you?
I'm well, Vice Chair. Hujambo?
Jambo kabisa.
Watu ni wazuri huko Ethiopia.
Wako salama kabisa. Tumemaliza kupiga kura.
Oh, very good.
Vice Chair, can we admit the guests?
Yes. Yes.
Vice
Let's go.
Chair, salamu yako ni selective kwa nini?
Oh, Senator Sakaja, how are you?
Fine. I'm not fine actually. What's going on?
Why? Because I've not greeted you.
Yeah, you're getting the selective.
I'm looking. you know, Senator Mutula has some connections with the Ethiopians.
I'm telling you.
But you're my in-laws. Even. Surely.
And people take care of one another. If you are our in-laws now, both of us can take care of you.
Ah, good. Asante.
Otherwise, how are you?
I'm good. I'm blessed.
Okay, yeah. That's good.
God.
Amen.
Asante.
I think we should begin this meeting. Who else is in the meeting? Senator Dulo, is she with us?
Senator Dulo is not with us, but I can see the chair has also logged in.
Ah, very good. Chair, how are you?
Vice Chair, good morning.
Morning. How are you, Chair? Long time.
We are good. We thank God we are good.
Paul, I understand you had some challenges with the network or your gadgets. Yeah.
Yes, but I think I'm on now.
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Yes.
Karibu, I was warming the room for you.
We can begin. Good morning.
So,
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Senator Sakaja. I'm good. Thank God I'm good. Senator Mutula, morning.
Ujambo chairman, mkurugenzi.
Salama.
Kabisa.
Yeah, so I think we can begin the meeting. We can ask Senator Sakaja to pray for us.
Thank you, Chair. Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our church. Amen.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Sakaja. So I want to welcome our visitors to today's meeting. And maybe before we go to introductions, I'll ask Vice Chair, could you propose adoption of today's agenda?
yes, Chair, I propose.
Senator Mutula, could you kindly second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. I'm not seeing any other senator in the room. I guess we are only two. Hello?
Here we have 4 senators, the chair, the vice chair, Senator Mutula, and Senator Sakaja.
Okay, good. Thank you. I think we have a quorum. Who is from our stakeholders today? Iebc? Is the chair present?
Chair, I can see the CEO, Mr. Majan. Maybe he could introduce the team once you have allowed the members to introduce themselves.
Okay, before we go there, then we can do our introduction. My name is Okongo Mogeni. I chair this committee of Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights. And maybe I'll ask other senators, beginning with the vice chair, introduction.
Naomi Wako, Vice Chair of this committee. Karibuni.
Our host senator.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Sakaja. I am the senator for Nairobi and member of this committee.
Okay, Senator for Makueni.
Yeah, Senator Mtula Kilonzo Jr., Makueni, karibuni.
Then we go back to our visitors from Iebc. Bwana CEO, Marjan, can you introduce your team?
Thank you very much. Good morning, honorable members.
Hello.
We have the director in charge of
You're on and off. Eh?
yes.
Yes. Proceed. We can hear you.
Yeah, with me, there is a director in charge of boundaries, research and development, Dr. Catherine Kamindo, and also Mr. Mike Goa, the director of legal and public affairs.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioners,
I cannot see anyone for now, but they said they were going to join the meeting. So hopefully, maybe in the course of the meeting, they will join.
we don't do business that way. We call this meeting to have a serious engagement with the commission. And I don't think you can appear here casually and tell us that the commissioners will be joining the course of the meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
if you read our agenda, it says meeting with the chairperson and commissioners of Iebc.
You are very right, Mr. Chairman. This is the meeting of Jlahrc and the chairman and the commissioners. They are very well aware of that, Mr. Chairman.
So where are they?
I can even say, I think the chairman has joined. I saw as if he was appearing. Maybe the person invited, the chairman is already there, Mr. Chairman. I think he can introduce himself. You can see him there.
Chairman, can you introduce yourself and your commissioners? Chairman.
I think he has muted himself, so he needs to.
Yeah, I can see Wafula Chebukati, Iebc chair.
Yes, he's there.
The chair is mute.
Yes.
If you can contact him
Yes,
through other means. You tell him to unmute.
Unmute himself.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Good morning, Chair and senators. I'm sorry I joined in late. My name is Wafula Chebukati, Chairman Iebc.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Karibu Chairman, Karibu Wana Chairman. We were doing introduction, so I don't know whether you are accompanied by your commissioners.
I'm not sure whether they are in their respective offices, but I'm in. Where I am, I'm alone.
Yeah, well,
so I need to check whether
we want to know whether they have joined the meeting so that we can proceed.
I'll find another way of conducting them.
Yeah, we give you a minute or so.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So in the meantime, Bwana CEO, if you have other technical staff, you can continue with the introduction as we wait for the commissioners. Bwana CEO.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. So you have agreed that we proceed with the meeting?
I've said we proceed with the introductions. If you have other technical staff, you can do the introduction.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, okay, accompanied in this meeting is our director in charge of research, development and boundaries, Dr. Catherine Kamindo. I think, Catherine, you can also speak so that members can hear you. And then also we have Mike Goa, our director in charge of legal and public affairs.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think they can introduce themselves, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I was saying, with your
Yeah, I
permission.
think we have, it's okay. We have, I think we have taken note of the technical staff accompanying you. As we wait for our chairman and commissioners, I'll allow our secretariat through Mr. Munyo to also introduce members of our secretariat. Over to you, Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Catherine Camido, the acting.
Oh, okay, okay. Go ahead, Catherine. We seem to be having very serious challenges on communication. I don't know whether it's from your end or it's from our end.
It should be from your end, Chairman.
Should be from our end. Okay. Okay, we have taken note of your technical staff. I'll ask Charles, maybe you can introduce members of our secretariat. Charles?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Charles Munywa, clerk to the committee. I'm joined by Ms. Sylvia Nasambu, clerk assistant, Mr. Moses Kenyanchui, our legal counsel, Mr. Said Osman, our researcher, Mr. Kimiti, our Hansard officer, and Ms. Stephanie Kiarie, who is interning with us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And I can see there are a number of media houses represented here. I want to welcome all of you. We should be starting shortly. So now I think we go back to you, Chairman, Iebc, Chebukati.
Yes, Chair, thank you. We're in touch with the commissioners. Commissioner Boyamol will be joining us shortly. He's trying to log in.
Okay.
And then Commissioner Professor Gulier, we have sent him on another assignment.
Okay.
In a meeting organized by ELOC on the civil society. Yes.
Okay. That's very well. That's okay. That should be okay. Then senators, I think now that we have the chairman, the CEO, and the other commissioner will be joining shortly, we can commence our meeting. The chairman, as you know, we wrote to you on the, I think on 3rd of June, inviting you to this meeting. And you did confirm on 14th of June that you are going to appear today. And the agenda today is basically we want you to respond to this committee on a statement that was sought by Senator Mary Senator, where she wanted to get an update on the roadmap of activities leading to preparations and holding of the 2022 general elections. Number two, we wanted to hear from Iebc how you're going to enforce the various legal provisions that are coming into effect in the elections that will be held in August 2022. More specifically, the enforcement of Section 22 of the Elections Act, number 24 of 2021. And also, we wanted to hear your preparedness to enforce the Election Campaign Financing Act, that's Act 42 of 2013. And we also wanted to get some insight on your annual report for the financial year 2019-2020, just to understand the activities that have been undertaken and what is your preparedness to hold the elections in August 2022. Finally, we also wanted to understand from the Commission how far you have gone in putting in place mechanisms for the delimitation of constituency and ward boundaries as required by the Constitution, an exercise that should be undertaken every 10 years. I don't know the senators have covered the issues that we are to address this morning, or you have anything to add? Vice Chair?
Chair, you have covered very well. Thank you.
Okay. Senator for Nairobi, Sakaja Johnson.
Chair, I think that's sufficient, but we'll play by the ear as we go ahead.
Thank you.
If anything comes up, thank you, sir.
Asante sana. Senator for Makueni, Senator Mutula Kilonzo.
Chairman, I thought other than the statement request, IEBC generally should advise us on everything, preparedness for the election generally, so that we don't ask them the questions after. That includes, Mr. Chairman, something that I'm very passionate about from the 2016 engagement on electoral reform. The audit of the electronic management system that was to be done a year after the election. That's number one, never been done. Number two, there was an audit of the register and action points to be undertaken by IEBC and a report tabled in Parliament within 1 year. Even that also is a matter concerning elections. So the statement is very particular, but the chairman should have this information at his fingertips on various information. And the last one is, the chairman launched what we call continuous voter registration, CVR, in Makueni some time back. I'm meant to understand that the equipment we purchased, called the integrated management system for the elections, do not have a component of voter registration. Is that statement correct? How far have they advanced? Because we have not seen any continuous voter registration or any advertisement towards Kenyans registering for elections. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mutula. I think.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
There are two more issues. Two more.
Okay.
We had also in the 2016 framework advised that change the law on diaspora voting. We need to know what exactly is going on. And the last one is what we call prisons are supposed to vote. That also is included in the regulations. And we need to hear from IEBC whether that has been put in place. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think, Chair, the Senator from Makueni has added a few things, including the audit that was conducted arising from the elections that we held in 2017. Maybe in addition to that, you can also take note of the issues that arose from the presidential petition of 2017, including the unanswered question of what happens, what really happens in the polling station, this mystery where a voter is given 6 ballots, but only votes for one candidate, that's the presidential candidate. But we don't know what happens to the other 5 ballots, and where they go, we don't know. The rumor is that at times, some people walk into polling stations and they are told their names have issues with the computer, and so they cannot vote, but later on, their names are used to vote for maybe one candidate. That question, I don't know whether the commission has addressed itself to that challenge, that mystery of picking 6 ballots, but a voter just elects to vote for the president, and then the 5 ballots disappear. You can't account for them. Maybe you can also respond in addition to the issues raised by Senator for Makueni. So over to you then, Chairman, and your team.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And Senators, I think you have rightfully pointed out the issues. What I suggest we do is, we did a write-up to the Senate. I don't know whether you have a copy.
Yeah, we already have it. We have a copy of the write-up.
And we also sent
That's the one June 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, we have that write-up. Senators, I hope you have that write-up.
Yes, Chairman, we have.
We have it.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Then we also have the strategic IEBC strategic plan, election operations plan, boundaries review operation plan, and IEBC annual report.
Yes.
what then I suggest and request we do is that we proceed. Our acting CEO will read through the content of the presentation, and then we can then follow up with the answers to the questions raised by the Senator for Makueni, Honorable Senator for Makueni, and then other questions that may follow. So over to you, Marjan, to go through the presentation, then now we can address the other issues which are not in the presentation.
So Chairman, I hope you are not telling the CEO to read line by line, because we have received the memorandum, we have read it. Now we want him to, from his fingertips, to highlight the salient issues on the issues that we have flagged for the commission this morning.
Yes, I think Marjan, you can hear?
Yes, Chairman, I can hear that. Sorry, Chairman, I wanted to.
We are not expecting that you will read line by line of the 13-page response.
Yes.
But you tell us, you know, as somebody who has all these issues at your fingertips,
Yes.
you highlight to us the main issues. And the only thing I didn't see in your memorandum,
yes,
I've not seen a line stating how IBC is committed to a credible, free and fair elections, August 2022. That is missing in all your documents. But go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted
Chairman.
Yes.
Yes. Is that Senator Mutula?
Yes. Including
yes.
the cost of the elections. Including cost of elections. Thank you, Chair.
So, Bonasio.
Yes, sir.
You have mentioned, I think somewhere, that one way of being prepared adequately in conducting elections next year is to ensure that you have adequate financing support from the exchequer. So we'd like to hear from you.
Yes.
What figures are you looking at?
Okay.
What figures are you looking at?
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This the presentation is arranged into 3 parts. The first part is that of legal. The second part is that of roadmap of activities leading to election, and the third part is the annual report 2019-2020. Mr. Chairman, because I have the legal director with us, with your permission, I wanted them to the director legal to give us the silent features or the silent points under that area, and then I will come in to do the roadmap of activities related to general election and the annual report. So with your permission, Mr. Chairman, if you allow, since our director legal is there, Mr. Mike Goa, I wanted him to take us through that.
Okay, very well. So we start with Mike Goa.
Yes.
Okay.
So
the floor is yours.
Mike, please go ahead.
Where is Mike?
I can take you through very quickly.
So you want to begin with the Election Campaign Financing Act?
Yes, or if you allow me, I will start with the part that I was supposed to take you through first. Okay, and try to address some of the questions that you have asked.
So we go with preparedness.
Yes.
Okay, we are together.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. in terms of preparedness of the IEBC in the conduct of the 2022 general election, the commission immediately after the election of 2017.
Good morning.
The commission went ahead and did what we refer to as post-election evaluation. In this post-election evaluation, it informed a lot of reforms that were supposed to be carried out before we do the next general election. And hand in hand with that, Mr. Chairman, was actually the preparation of the IEBC Strategic Plan 2020-2021, which gives a roadmap of activities to be carried out by the Commission in the next 5 years, not just for the purpose of the election, but also in the next 5 years. You realize that the election is going to be next year, but the activities that goes beyond the general election. This strategic plan basically addresses such issues. The strategic plan has been prepared and anchored on 6 pillars. The first pillar basically is the strengthening of the corporate governance. This pillar aims to strengthen the leadership of the Commission so that they are able to participate fully in terms of strategy and policy development, as well as oversight. The second one is strengthening the legal framework. And this is also where we're talking about gaps that existed during the last general election and what the Commission has done to ensure that such gaps are actually closed. And the third one is actually now on the conduct of election. Mr. Chairman, you talked about, you have not seen any statement on the fact that we are committed to ensuring that there is free, fair, and effective election. That is where basically this statement comes in. In the conduct of the election, the Commission commits itself to ensure that the election is actually conducted in a free and fair environment, and also the Commission also want to be accountable for the results that will be presented then. Then hand in hand with that, Mr. Chairman, is the fourth pillar, which is enhancing public outreach. And this is the issue of voter education, Mr. Chairman. The Commission has laid out its strategies very well to ensure that it's able to reach out to all the voters, whether would-be or the existing voters, and to give them appropriate voter education for the purpose of general election. And hand in hand with this will actually be engagement of stakeholders, various stakeholders who will basically assist us in terms of ensuring that we reach out to all the voters, including people with disabilities, women, and marginalized group. And then the fifth pillar, fifth key results area, Mr. Chairman, is equitable representation. This is whereby we are talking about the boundaries. The strategic plan 2020-2024, Mr. Chairman, also has got two critical programs. One of them is the conduct of the election, and the other one, basically, Mr. Chairman, is a review of boundaries, or rather boundaries delimitation. So this fifth key results area will basically be handling that in terms of how the Commission intends to do that, when will it do it, at what point will they stop, and at what point are they going to complete the same. And the sixth pillar is strengthening strategic operation of the Commission. Based on the post-election evaluation report, the Commission has identified several areas that require strengthening in the operations. And these areas, Mr. Chairman, the Commission has even started putting deliberate efforts to ensure that they are actually strengthened. As we speak, I think when we are launching the strategic plan, we are also launching some of the important internal documents, like finance policy manual, human resource policy manual, procurement, which was also a challenge last time. So these documents have been prepared to guide the staff, and not just policy-wise level, but they've also gone to even lower level at work instruction level, so that we don't leave anything to chance. These documents are aimed at strengthening the operations of the areas in the Commission. Now, Mr. Chairman, the electoral process is grounded on participation, and the Commission in this plan has closely aligned the priorities to enhance credibility, inclusivity, and voter experience. This is basically, this is done purely because of the results of the post-election evaluation report, which actually sought to address the issue of inclusiveness. And therefore, when we prepare this strategic plan, we ensure that the stakeholders were actually also part of the preparation. This strategic plan will be implemented through new organization structure. Mr. Chairman, the key elements of implementing any strategy, basically one is the organization structure, which should be able to deliver on that strategy. And two is also the issue of aspect of financing. And I'm happy that you've talked about financing. You are asking how adequate is financing, and also what is the cost of the election. Maybe we will be seeking to answer that question as we take you through this presentation. Then also, over and above that, the plan also has a robust monitoring and evaluation framework. And this is basically to assist the Commission in tracking progress in the implementation and ensuring responsibility and accountability for all staff. The other point that maybe need to bring to attention members, Chairman, and the members of the Jlahrc of Senate is that this strategic plan will be implemented in an environment where we have got COVID outbreak. And therefore, the Commission, in preparation for that, prepared its protocol, of course, with assistance of the Ministry of Health. And these protocols have also been shared widely, and also they are available in our websites. But of course, hand in hand with this, of course, to comply with the protocol also requires some expenses. So in our elections, in our election budget, we have factored this element. So our assumption is that we'll be actually undertaking the election under this environment, which we are still in. Mr. Chairman, hand in hand with that, the strategic plan basically gives overarching, but also very general perspectives in terms of how the Commission intends to chart its way forward and to achieve its stream. But to operationalize the same, the Commission has prepared the election operations plan. These election operations plans basically handle the issue of that program that I talked about of election. And in this plan, we have actually laid out what activities will be done leading up to the general election. So the election operations plan is operationalizing the strategic plan. And of course, it is operationalizing the same using the 6 pillars that I talked about. And it has also put in place robust monitoring, evaluation, and reporting to ensure that all risks that are inherent in the process are identified quickly and they are mitigated. And also the plan is adjusted because it's not cast in stone. It is adjusted to ensure that it takes care of all the factors that might inhibit achievement of the same. Mr. Chairman, the second program is the boundaries of election plan. And again, also this is part of the strategy plan. Mr. Chairman, the Constitution of Kenya provides for the review of the names and boundaries of constituent wards at intervals of not less than 8 and not more than 12 years, with any review being completed at least 12 months before a general election of members of parliament.
Sorry, Bonasio.
Yes.
I can see you have voter education, but I'm not seeing voter registration.
Mr. Chairman, voter registration is also there. And okay, we talked about public outreach, but in order to conduct election, Mr. Chairman, mass voter registration is also part of it. So, and also it's also one of the mandate of the Commission. It has to be part of that. So under election, under management of election, managing election, that is where we have voter registration. Yeah, in the effective conduct of election, that's where we have voter registration. And voter registration starts immediately after.
Okay, proceed.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, of course, the other aspect of boundaries delimitation is that it is meant to the plan, the way it has been arranged. It is meant to ensure that we are able to identify key priority milestones and activities of the boundaries exercise. Of course, to provide timelines for all those identified milestones and activities and their interdependencies, and also the resource requirement for the purpose of that exercise. In cognizance of the complexity of the delimitation process, as well as the fact that the Commission will be conducting general election, the Commission has adopted the approach that basically handles the same in 3 phases. One is the pre-delimitation phase, the second phase is during delimitation, and the third phase is post-delimitation. And the activities in the phases are one. In phase 1, it will involve development of the boundaries delimitation legal framework, undertaking situational analysis, data collection, pilot study, procurement of requisite materials, of course, public education, and stakeholders engagement and training of staff. The second phase is now the actual delimitation phase, which also involves the generation of new electoral maps. And the third phase is a presentation to the National Assembly, and of course also the Senate, adoption, gazettement, and also publication of the report. Yeah. And based on the provision in the law, the financial year by which the review of the electoral should be completed is March 2023. So far, the Commission has been able to conduct data analysis of the 2019 National Population and Housing Census published by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. And also it has been able to conduct pilot study for review and update of boundaries geodatabase. Even as we speak, Mr. Chairman, we have also already commenced data collection in various countries. I think maybe Senator Mutula can be able to confirm that we have started with Machakos. Machakos was picked for various reasons and also because of resource limitation. We've started with the Machakos, and then we'll also do Embu, and then from there we'll now be able to extend it to the other counties. So that is basically, Mr. Chairman, on strategic plan and election operations plan. I will now move and before I address some of those questions that you have asked in that area, I will now move to the annual report 2019-2020, and I will give the highlights of the report. Mr. Chairman, during the period under review, which again also forms part of the pre-election stage in the electoral cycle, the Commission carried out a number of activities. Amongst them is the development of the strategic plan, which I've just outlined. And over and above that, also we did the post-election evaluation for 2017, which is also reflected in the annual report. During the period under review, Mr. Chairman, also in order to strengthen the election and boundaries delimitation legal framework, the Commission drafted and submitted to Parliament draft referendum bill 2019, draft proposed procedures for delimitation of boundaries, draft independent electoral boundaries amendment bill 2020, and a draft election campaign financing amendment bill 2019. The Commission equally presented its submission on various pieces of proposed legislation, including the referendum bill number 2, 2020, by the National Assembly Committee on Implementation of the Constitution. The delay in enactment of the bills will actually affect the proposed legal reforms. Mr. Chairman, also, during the period under review, the Commission's priority activities, which included conduct of various legal prescribed activities, such as audit and maintenance of election technology, continuous voter registration, voter education and awareness, were affected by insufficient budgetary provision. I believe this also addressed one of the questions that was being raised by Senator Mutula. In addition, the Commission required funds to pay audited pending bills as of 30th June 2019. The Commission therefore appeals to Parliament and also the National Treasury to provide funds for electoral activities throughout the electoral cycle. And of course, also in the period under review, the Department of Political Affairs of the African Union Commission, in collaboration with the Association of African Electoral Authority and the Commission, held 6th Annual Continental Forum of Election Management Bodies in Nairobi. The theme of the forum was enhancing participation of internally displaced persons and refugees in Africa towards a more inclusive electoral process. The Association General Assembly elected the Iebc chairman, Mr. Chebukati, as the president of the assembly, taking over from the chairperson of the National Election Commission of Rwanda. Mr. Chairman, also during the same period, of course, we also reported that the global COVID pandemic impacted on the activities of the commission that necessitated scaling down of activities, including continuous voter registration, voter education, and outreach. By elections, also electoral boundaries review. To remedy the situation, the commission adopted protocols to be adhered to while conducting activities that involve physical human interaction. So, Mr. Chairman, so that is a brief summary of the area that's touched on, of course, question by our senator there, but there were questions which were asked, and I believe these questions are touching on the area of preparedness for election. I think there was a question of electoral legal reforms, which will be addressed when Mike presents, of course, his presentation. The issue of the audit of the system, Mr. Chairman, I indicated that we've been having and we continue having a challenge on budget. As you are aware, Mr. Chairman, we are a vote, and when we are a vote, when we submit our requirements, we are also given budgeting according to votes. So this vote where we are supposed to be having money for audit of the system has not been there. But Mr. Chairman, this financial year, because of the continued challenge of money being allocated to do systems audit, we actually asked our internal audit to work in collaboration with the Ministry of ICT or to assess our technology. We have since received the report, and the audit committee of the commission is seized of the report, and they are going to discuss the same and provide way forward. But the biggest challenge that we have there, Mr. Chairman, is that one of the budget. There was a question on KIMs do not have voter registration module. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I can confirm that the KIM system do not have the voter registration module. At the time when you were purchasing this system, Mr. Chairman, our register was actually ready, and we were using a different system to do the same. We are using the BVR system to enroll voters and also to generate the register out of that. By the time we were going to the market to buy the technology, we already have the register ready, and also incorporating the voter registration module there was also going to add into the expenses, and that is why we left it out. But it was actually it is there, and we continue using the same. The only difference between the two systems is that if we were to use the KIMS kit, we are going to use if we are to use the KIMS system, we are going to use the kit. But for now, we are using the laptop based for the purpose of registration, and this is available in all our offices. The only challenge we have is, again, also, as I said, is budget. We cannot be able to move closer to the people because of a budgetary element. But any would-be voter who wants to be registered, there are systems actually available in our offices, and that is where we register. And that is why, up to now, we have been able to register over 140,000, Mr. Chairman. Because if we didn't have this module, then probably we wouldn't have registered anything at all. So yes, and
sorry, 140 for what period? You have registered 140,000
since the time we launched. Since the time we launched the CVR, the ASS, up to now, because that's a requirement by law that we do continuous voter registration.
That is 2019, 2018, 2019.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. To date, we have done over
2019, 2020, 2021, 140,000 in the whole country.
Yes, over 140,000. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So in addition, last, I think 20, sorry, Wanasio.
Yes.
By 2017, we had 19.4 million registered voters.
Yes. So we have added on top of
And
that.
that was just a minute,
Yes,
minute.
yes.
From between 2017 to 2019, 2013 we had about 13 million.
Yes.
By 2017 we had shot up to 19 million.
19.6.
So what is the increase from 2017 to date? From 19.4 million, where are we now? What is the increase for the last 3 years?
So I've said that the figure that we have added on top of 19.6, it was actually 19.6, Mr. Chairman. It is now 145,000 on top of that. And this we have been doing through.
That's the only increase.
Yes.
That's the only increase.
Yes, this is the only increase. And the reason for that shortfall, Mr. Chairman, is because of lack of budgetary provision. Whenever we allocated budget for that activity, Mr. Chairman, a small portion of that budget, at the same time also during those same financial year, we find that we've got by-elections, and we are told to use that money first to conduct the by-elections. So we've never had any budget per se for the purpose of conducting voter registration and even voter education.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
That is what, as Senator Mtula intervenes, I think we are not doing well, because if we could register over 5 million voters between 2013, 2017, and now between 2017, 2021, we can only raise register 150,000 new voters. Don't you think, Banasio, that there is a serious gap there? Something is not adding up. But let's, before you respond, I think Senator Mtula has an intervention. Senator Mtula?
As Chairman, as you calculate the number of people they have increased, we must correspondingly calculate the number of people we have lost. So the figures must be accurate. Between 2017 and 2019, there must be a number of Kenyans who are registered who passed on. So the reason I mentioned audit of the register, Bwana CEO, is because the system should be able to tell you how many people you have lost while you have gained, so that you net off the gains minus the people we have lost. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your statement is correct.
Yeah, do you have those figures? Do you know how many we have lost, so that you can net off?
No, and I will explain why, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it is true you are saying if you compare previous period and this period, the performance is not good. You will notice, Mr. Chairman, that during the period in the run-up to 2017 general election, we conducted mass voter registration. And in this mass voter registration was actually funded in the election budget. Mr. Chairman, mass voter registration has been factored, but it has been funded in the general election budget, which starts next financial year. So right here, the little that we have accumulated in terms of registration is because of our effort of just trying to, wherever we are going to function or we are going to NRB, National Registration Bureau, those who are actually getting IDs, that's where we are actually stationing ourselves and using even our money from our pockets to basically do that. You will be surprised, Mr. Chairman, that our staff sometimes really will have to use money in their pockets to even register staff. So in this financial year 2021, 2022, there is we have already been allocated money for general election, close to 14.4 billion, Mr. Chairman, 0.5 billion. And part of it is actually the mass voter registration budget. Hopefully that with this, we should be able to also now reach our target, because what we want to do is to reach a target of close to 25 million. Close to, we are now in 19.6, we want to move to 25 million. And we estimate that by the next general election, we should have around 53,000 polling station, Mr. Chairman. So we...
Sorry, in your roadmap, when are you doing this mass voter registration campaign?
We are starting in the next financial year, which starts in July.
So in July. Okay.
Which is just next month. The budget will be available now. We can start.
No, but Mr. Majan, the breakdown, do you have the breakdown of the 14.5 billion?
Yes, we okay. Right away, I don't have it, but this is what we submitted in the medium-term expenditure framework budget, and I can comfortably tell you, Mr. Chairman, that the total amount that we requested for the 2 financial year is not what we have been allocated. We have even presented. We have got a gap. We have a gap of about 13 billion.
So you requested
So,
for 27.
Yes.
Why can't you address the issue raised by Senator Mtula more ably by telling us our projected budget is this, the Treasury has allocated this much, and this is what we are missing. And you also give us a breakdown of activities so that we are able to see where we are and what can be done.
Mr. Chairman, okay, right away, because I don't have the figures, but I can talk over estimates, Mr. Chairman, because
Yes,
I don't want to be.
Bwana CEO, we want to hear the figures. You know, if you just make general blanket statements, you are not helping this committee.
Then you will allow me to come back to you, Mr. Chairman, on that, because, and since there are also presence of media in that in this presentation, I prefer that I give you the actual figures, and I will come back to you later on, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman.
Yes, Senator Mtula.
The importance of this question is this: if your budget is less 13 billion shillings, the question, fundamental question is, because that has already been allocated, are you prepared for the general elections? How will you conduct the elections if you are short of by 13 billion? That is the importance of this question. And it must be understood, because we want to know what the breakdown is, so that we understand how the Treasury or the respective committee of budget allocated you 14.5 billion. And you are saying, in fact, part of the 14.5 billion is for mass voter registration.
Yes, we actually, yes, no, Mr. Chairman, let me be clear, Mr. Chairman. You are very right. And I'm saying that, yes, part of the 14, we have planned for 2 mass voter registrations, not just 1, 2. One was supposed to be done immediately we received, and the other one is basically closed.
What is your budget line on that issue of vote? Because it's very important. We don't want Kenyans to be denied. What is your budget line there? And do you have this money?
Mr. Chairman, as I said that, yes.
Yeah, we want answers. We want to know whether the commission is prepared, both financially and otherwise, in ensuring that we have credible elections. And credible elections include ensuring that all eligible voters are given an opportunity to register as voters before next elections. That's why we're having this meeting today.
You are very right, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I didn't know that this question of giving the budget to the approximate, to the accurate value required was going to be part of that. And that is why I did not carry that information with me, Mr. Chairman. But like I said,
No. We want to understand also. You're the CEO of the commission.
Yes.
Being the CEO of the commission, we would expect that ideally the information ought to be at your desk, ideally. Because it is you who submitted on behalf of the commission the budget to Treasury or to Parliament.
Yes.
Yeah, so how can you say you don't know, Bwana?
No. I'm talking about accurate. Mr. Chairman, you want me to give you accurate information to the line, to the last cent. And I'm trying to give a disclaimer that I cannot be able to give that at the moment.
No,
not
this,
that because
Chairman,
it's because yes.
Chairman, the technical staff, the technical staff of the commission are present in this meeting. Information of this nature ought to be available at the fingertip, means you can retrieve it on mail, etc., etc. Chairman, can you, through you, request that the CEO provides this information within the course of this meeting?
No, Mr. Chairman, okay, I've gotten now, I have it, I've been able to retrieve the same. Yes.
If you read your communication, the communication to the Senate,
yes,
which came through your hand on the 14th of June 2021, You are appearing before us to give a roadmap of activities leading to the 2022 general elections.
Yes, Mr.
That will
Chair.
include the issues dealing with your budgetary request, your finance, your projections on how much money you need to ensure that you achieve your intended, schedule of activities towards 2022. That's why Senator Mtula is getting surprised, and we're also getting surprised when you tell us that you don't have the figures.
No, you shouldn't get surprised, Mr. Chairman.
So can you give us the figures?
Yes.
If we,
and let me give
that's
the
what
figures. Let us make progress, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you the figures.
Please.
So in terms of our projection, Mr. Chairman, in our preparation for MTEF, we had requested for 40 billion, 85,780,661. And we are requested for them in 2 financial years. The first financial year is 2021 to 2022. We had requested for 14,905,003,955. And the money allocated for voter registration is 2.564 billion in financial year 2021-2022.
Against a budget of
this is what we had requested. This is the budget that we had requested.
2.64.
Yes, 2.564.
For under voter registration, how much had you requested?
We had requested for.
Sorry, Banasio, how much had you requested?
2.564 billion.
For voter registration.
For mass voter registration.
How much have you been given?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have the printed estimate now, but that is what we had requested.
Okay.
And then, but what we were allocated, Mr. Chairman, when we were in the sector working group, we were given out of the 40.085 billion, we were given 33.013 billion. That's what we were given. So you can see it's 33.013 billion against 40.085 billion, Mr. Chairman. So it means there's a gap there. And that's what I was saying, that there's a gap of about 14 billion.
Okay.
I think up to them, Mr. Chairman, is
very well.
Yes. Yes. So that is, those are the.
Do you have under the vote of delimitation of constituency and ward boundaries?
Yes.
Did you ask for money under that vote?
Yes, we did ask for money under that area, Mr. Chairman.
Were you given adequate financing under that vote?
Mr. Chairman, I'm referring to.
And you have indicated in your report to us that this exercise can only end in 2023. So are you trying to tell Kenyans that there's no way we can have new constituencies in place before we conduct August 2022 elections?
Mr. Chairman, I will reserve that question for the commissioners and chairman since they are here.
No, it's in what you've given us.
Chairman. Yes, Chairman.
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator Mtula.
That you know, I have in my mind queried why you asked the CEO to speak, because I knew you would some things you would not say something, because in their own annexure, Mr. Chairman, of the reports that they have tabled in the launch, they are saying that in fact the boundary dispute resolution cannot, they have slotted it in their timetable for July 10th, 2024, not even 2023, it's 2024. So Iebc is simply saying in this schedule of electoral timelines that in fact you cannot have boundaries before July 10th, 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Senator Sakaja, Bwana CEO, you know, once you take the witness stand, you must answer all the answers adequately, or you seek time off for the chair to step in.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Because that is in page. Who is the author of the document that you sent to us? Who takes ownership? Because page 11 says
yes
that you cannot finish the review. You can only compile and finish the process by March 2023. That's at page 11.
Yes.
So who prepared the document?
Yes, we prepared the document, Mr. Chairman.
So if you prepared, why can't you confirm to us, and or you want to disown it? Because this is your document. I'm simply asking what is in your document, Bwana CEO.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'm also represented ably by my chairman, but let me, if you insist that you want me to answer that,
yes,
I will answer you.
Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we have got
Yes,
we have got two running programs, as I've said in our strategic plan. We have got the general election, which has to be done by 9th of August 2022. And we have got boundaries delimitation. All these programs are competing for the same resources that we are basically using. And you may have noticed, Mr. Chairman, since the time that we I wanted to start this boundary delimitation program, we've been having challenges also in getting financing for the same. Where we have reached, Mr. Chairman, even if we are to calculate and say, for example, Mr. Chairman, we are to do boundaries delimitation, how long will it take? And whether within 1 year we can be able to complete the same and use the report for the purpose of general election. Bearing in mind, for example, how long it took last time to do boundaries delimitation, Mr. Chairman. It is for that reason, when you look at the competing resources, the human resource that is going to be used, the challenges in terms of financing, Mr. Chairman, I don't see it feasible that we'll be able to do boundaries now and complete it and use the same in the general election. But maybe, Mr. Chairman, also, I have got a chairman here. I have got the director in charge of boundaries delimitation. And I've got also commissioners. I believe they can be able to add onto that, Mr. Chairman.
No, Bwana, you don't need to be apologetic. You are heading a constitutional commission. So we want to hear it from you professionally, the way you are putting it. So you don't need to be apologetic. But I think there is a senator for Nairobi, Senator Sakaja, had an intervention. Senator Sakaja?
First of all, I think we have been in good order for us after hearing the entire presentation to ask our questions. I have a set, and just allow me to ask because I need to chair my committee. Number one, the document that is sent to us, being an official document, should be signed by the chair. I doubt there are two positions. So that we don't ask who takes ownership, but the chair of the commission should confirm that that is the commission's document. I don't know if we can get that fast before we go into the questions, because that is the person I'd like to ask questions to.
So, Senator Sakaja, you want the chair
Chair,
to
can you confirm that this presentation is the position of the commission signed by the chair?
Bwana Chairman, Chairman Chebukati.
Yes, Chair.
Now, there is a question that has been raised by the senator for Nairobi, because your CEO has given us a document, but when we are trying to ask some questions arising from the presentation that has been made to us, he seems to be saying that the chairman should respond to some of those issues. But we have a document that you sent to us officially. So the senator for Nairobi wants you to confirm that. Can you confirm that the commission takes ownership of this document? And more so you as the chairman.
Well, thank you, Chair. This document was prepared by the management. Apparently, it doesn't have my signature, but it's a document prepared by the commission. So that I can confirm, but it doesn't have my signature. I believe what we shall do is after this meeting, we shall be prepared for purpose of signing and shall be available to the committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. So following that,
yes,
the CEO, and I'm grateful for his presentation, has told us about the delimitation process. My first question is around delimitation. That there's the pre-delimitation, there's delimitation and post-delimitation. One, could you tell us where they are? Are they still at pre? And number two, Chair, we know the purpose of delimitation. Article 89, the principles of our electoral system, universal suffrage and equality of the vote. Chair, as we stand today, and I speak for where I represent, I have more than 7 constituencies that are above 250,000 people. With the highest, of course, in the country being Kasarani, with 398.
Senator Sakaja, you are breaking off. I don't know that it's the internet.
Oh, I hope Chair can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, actually.
So it is our Chair. Kasarani, I was given an example, Kasarani at 398,000. Kasarani is borders the second most populous constituency, which is Ruiru at 371, Embakasi East at 363, etc. Like 5 of them above, 7 above 250. Chair, what we're telling these people is that before 2027, they have no hope for equitable representation. Because if we see this calendar, Chair, the next election is on the 9th of August, 2021. That is 1 year, 1 month.
2022, not 2022. Yeah.
2022. That is 1 year, 1 month, 16 days, and 20 hours. It means definitely we will not have delimitation. Is that the official position of the Commission? We just want to understand that. My second question, Chair, let me move away from that. I don't want to belabor it. Pending bills. Chair, the Iebc has huge pending bills. Can the CEO tell us the exact amount and how they have occurred? Because it says all expenditure is done based on budget and their votes. So how is it that we have such high pending bills? You find certain organizations have a lot of, money owed to them, and many entrepreneurs. Chair, and what is the plan of sorting that out? I know they've made the budget, the request, but how did we come up with those if all expenditure was done based on the budgets that they had been approved and assigned to them, Chair? Finally, Chair, I also feel we're probably getting it wrong when it comes to continuous voter registration. Chair, continuous voter registration is not an event. It's continuous. It's not something you launch and invite people to cut a ribbon. It's something that should be ongoing. From the time the election is held and determined, a Kenyan who turned 18 on that day should be able to walk and get registered anywhere in the constituency. I know there are budgetary constraints, but do Kenyans know that they can get registered anywhere before the mass registration? Chair, in 2013, I had 1.7 million voters in Nairobi. In 2017, 5 years later, I had 2.25 million, meaning it went up by 522,000. Chair, if you look at those who turned 18 between the last election and now, and maybe those who migrated to Nairobi, I estimate another 600,000 for Nairobi. Yet, we've only registered 140,000 in the whole country. So really, my people are disenfranchised. How do we address this, Chair? Because, and the CEO has admitted that the commission has not performed as well as it did between 2013 and 2017. How do we sort this out with this number of days left, 1 year, 1 month? Are we really ready for the election? And also, is the commission developing a wait and see attitude? Are they waiting? Is there a wait and see? Will BBI pass? Will it not pass? Will there be changes? Because whether or not that process goes on, we have a law right now. We have the constitution and we have our laws. And the work they should be doing should go on regardless. We cannot anticipate the possibility of the constitution being amended. Why is it that we're not seeing movement, Chair? Thank you. I will yield there and I'll leave it at that.
Chairman.
Chair,
thank you.
I hope I can get some answers because Chair, I need to go chair Labour Committee. We have the CS waiting for us here. Thank you.
I'm sure the CEO and the chair have recorded your questions, and I'm hopeful that they will respond before they leave. But before we allow the CEO or the chair to respond, I forgot to introduce the senator who had also sought this statement. Senator Mary Mary Senator. Maybe you can
Yes.
introduce yourself. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm also in another meeting in another committee meeting, but I want to also hear from Iebc. When are they going to be adding more polling stations for the existing constituencies? When are they adding more polling stations? Because we have constituencies like where I come from, Kajiado East in Kitengela, there are so many, the population is so big. So telling people to go to the usual polling stations, that will mean we shall have a line up along Namanga Road up to Kajiado or Isenya. So when are they going to add more polling stations? And the continuous voter registration exercise, why has it stopped? Chair.
Okay, thank you, Senator Mary Senator. Before
Chair,
the CEO responds or the chairman, did I hear?
Yes, Chair.
Hello, did I hear Senator Mtula? Did you have an intervention, Senator
Yes.
Mtula?
Yes. Chairman, in fact, I wanted to raise this concern while Senator
Vice Chair,
Sakaja
just
was...
hold on. We hear Senator Mtula, then we'll come to you, Vice Chair. Senator Mtula.
Okay.
I wanted to raise this concern when Senator Sakaja was still online, because this concern on page 11 of their response on data analysis, in fact, was raised by Senator Sakaja during our engagement on the Constitutional Bill 2020.
I'm still here.
Yes, the fundamental question is this, that there were some files that were supposed to be shared between Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and Iebc on a document called document number 5 that would ideally shorten the process of delimitation insofar as the identification of where the additional constituencies should be. How far have they gone on that? Because the idea of commencing data collection that is in their report on page 11 goes against everything that we had from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, to the extent that any additional constituencies for purposes of the next general elections have already been identified using the 2019 population census. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I'm sure, Chairman, you have noted that point. Vice Chair, Senator Wako, Naomi.
Thank you, Chair. Mine will be a brief one. It is still on this continuous.
You should be on the camera, Vice Chair. Yes, proceed.
Yes, thank you. I'm saying mine is on continuous voter registration. Chair, you know that some of our areas are disadvantaged because we are far, and then the networks, the road networks, infrastructures, we don't have good good network. And especially in Marsabit, which is the biggest county in our country, I have not seen voter registration going on. And in addition to that, our main problem again is the young people getting their IDs. This has been a problem because, you know, we border Ethiopia, we border Uganda, we border Somalia, and our young people have always been challenged in terms of getting their IDs, because most of the time they are seen as refugees or as people from the other country trying to acquire identities from where they are. So what plans do they have in place so that as many people as possible can have IDs and also can register for vote, so that when the time comes in 2022, then we'll have all the people who have reached the age of voting get the right of voting for the candidate they want.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. I think we can allow the Commission to respond to the issues raised by the senators, especially Sakaja, who needs to exit to go and chair another meeting. So Chairman and Banasio.
Yes, Chair, maybe before the CEO deals with the technical issue on boundaries, let me just say something about the CVR, continuous voter registration. The position of the Commission is that after the general election 2017, we had to wait for election petitions, which were over 300 to be finalized, and followed by the by-elections then. And that's why we commenced the launch of CVR in Makueni. That was immediately after the petitions were finalized. We actually gazetted continuous voter registration now to commence after the 2017 general elections. And from that time up to now, there has been continuous voter registration in every constituency in the country, in the 290 constituencies, except for areas which have been having by-elections. And that is the position of the Commission. Now, why only constituency officers? Because there has been no budget allocated to us the last 3 years for CVR. It's only now that with the next financial year, we have been allocated some budget, which will now enable the Commission to roll out mass voter registration. As we all know, the registration of voters is voluntary, and you cannot, of course, force Kenyans to register. And using minimal or even no resources at all, we have reached out to the numbers which have so far registered. And so the Senate needs to be alive to the fact that without resources, it's very difficult for us to carry out voter registration and sensitize Kenyans so as to come out in large numbers and register to vote. When mass voter registration comes and funds are available, we shall be there in every ward, every marketplace to register Kenyans, and we shall also be able to sensitize them in all manner of communication so they come out in large numbers. And this was done in 2017. I remember 2017, January, February, March, this is what happened. That's how we managed to get about 5 million Kenyans registered at that time. I expect that when we roll out mass voter registration, we shall have the numbers which will be about the 4 or 5 million Kenyans will come out to vote. And I appeal to members of Senate and other political leaders, please, you can sensitize the youth in your areas, at least for now they go to the constituency offices and register. Now, the issue of certification of the register. The last time we certified the register was December 2019. Certification means now we had to share data with the registrar of births and deaths and remove the dead voters, and then the Commission certified that register. And this will also be done after now the mass voter registration. The register must be certified. I think it's in the timelines, should be around May of next year, so that the dead voters will be removed, and then we shall be able to know how many have registered. So it is that kind of situation that now the Commission finds itself in. Without resources, it's very difficult. But we have not slept on our job. We have done the best we can with the limited resources which we have. And following now the certification of the register, that's now when we shall do mapping of polling stations. As you all know, the law requires that a polling station should not have more than 700 voters. And likely the number of polling stations will be increased. If, for example, we have an extra 5 million voters, we're looking at maybe about another extra 10,000 polling stations, a rough estimate that may arise from that. And so that is the position as far as the issue of continuous voter registration is concerned. Chair, I don't know, other issue of Senator Sakaja was it on procurement? No.
Delimitation. It was on delimitation.
Boundaries.
So Chair, on voter registration, we are saying that we just wait for the mass exercise. Is that's the position? Because of
the people in your constituencies in Nairobi, the people should go now and register. Let the youth go and register.
But how do they know if you don't announce it? How do they know they should go register? Chair, even in this meeting, while we have the media,
yes,
when you sensitize Kenyans, it doesn't mean you have to do advertisements on papers and on TV. Just a statement from the commission that every Kenyan can go to their constituency office and register is enough. We have radio, we have TV. It doesn't have to be an ad. And in those offices, I suspect there are staff there who can register them. So before waiting for the huge chunk of money, and the country really, I'm not sure if we have all those resources, just a proper announcement, because it's Article 38, it's a civil and political right of every Kenyan. But if they don't know that, if even members of parliament and senators may not know that any Kenyan can walk in to any office and register, then I think somebody is really not doing their job properly. Just announce, tell Kenyans, and I hope the fourth estate who are here can help us, that wherever you are, if you go to a constituency office, you can be registered at any time. Chair, that information is what really needs to be out there.
Chairman.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes, Senator Mtula.
In fact, in addition to what Senator Sakaja is saying, in the constituency of Mboni, the registration officer has become very innovative to the extent that he has followed up to check when the registration bureau is issuing IDs, and he bothers to go there so that by the time somebody gets their ID, they can then be registered on the spot. This cannot be that expensive because the chiefs are issuing, for example, the Huduma cards are being issued in markets as we speak. I have seen. The chiefs are issuing ID cards regularly, possibly weekly or twice or thrice a week. What stops Iebc within a constituency framework from collaborating with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics so that at the time they are issuing IDs to people, they are registered on the spot? The idea of just sitting in an office and expecting Kenyans to go all the way, spend 2,000 shillings to get registered, just suggests that somebody is just not being innovative. It's actually easily laziness, easily. Thank you.
Chair, in fact, as we were talking, I was just texting the people at the registrar's office to find out how many, and possibly we should have invited them or have a joint meeting between them, the registrar of persons and Iebc, because if they worked together, at the point of getting your ID, you should be able to, either get the information or be registered, because it's really a similar, a similar process. I don't know if the chair can tell us whether they are working together, despite the budgetary constraint, to know, once you estimate, for instance, now you should be able to estimate how many people you expect to register based on the number of IDs issued from 2017. Chair, I know, the innovation, and I like that member from the person in Mboni. I hope the chair can note that person and commend him for being innovative. Because, Chair, these rights, we really need to follow up and tell Kenyans, look, it is your right to actually be registered. No matter who you'll vote for, exercise that right. I can announce today on my Facebook that any Kenyan in Nairobi should go and register, but I'm not an official of Iebc. If Iebc puts that out, it's better, Chair.
So, Chair, the chair of our commission, Iebc. I think I agree with the sentiments by the senators that even as you urge us to go and really spread this message to our voters, this information needs to come from you. And also the people who are facilitating the voters should be close to them. I was, this Friday, actually, I was in Nyamira in a place called Tinderet. And I was trying to tell people to go and register, and they were asking me, why should we go all the way to Nyansiongo? That's about 4 kilometers from where I was to go and register as a voter. Why can't these people come to us the way it happened in 2017? So I think the buck stops with you, Chair, and it is you should engage in a serious campaign, do adverts in the local dialect stations. People should hear this from Mutembei FM, from Iebc FM, from Minto FM, so that it is you who is making the appeal, not really as the, of course, as the political class, we can say these things, but you should take the lead in urging Kenyans to come out in large numbers to register, even before you roll the mass voter registration campaign. So you can respond to the issues raised by Senator Sakaja. But Chair, I also wanted to ask a question. Have you ever resolved this question that featured in the Supreme Court? When people are given 6 ballot papers in an election and they only vote for the president, what happens to the 5 which are unaccounted for? Over to you, Chair.
Similarly, Chairman, there's a dispute about resignation, and the chairman, our good friend and senior, mentioned this during the launch. There's an ongoing dispute on the resignation of civil servants. 6 months, the 6 months rule. What is the result of the litigation? Because this matter is still unresolved as we speak. If you recall, Chairman, I think one of the courts declared this section unconstitutional. What have you done about it? Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. Just to go back a little bit on continuous voter registration. Last week, we launched annual voter education week, and the principal part of that was voter registration. And in all the constituencies and counties in the whole country, our teams were sensitizing Kenyans on how to register as voters and answer any of their questions as far as elections are concerned. So in terms of sensitizing Kenyans, I think we have tried with the limited resources that we have. And I'm aware in some constituencies, we have staff who have used even their own resources to go around in funerals, in barasas, to sensitize Kenyans to register. So that is ongoing. I'm also aware most of our constituency offices are actually next to the registration centers of IDs. And so there's that networking which goes on in that limited, with the limited resources. I think we also in a situation, and we have seen this in the past, where our people normally wait for last minute before they turn up. But we shall try as much as possible with the mass voter registration to ensure that a lot of these messages go out. And I'm very hopeful that we shall get the numbers of the youth out there who deserve to be registered. Chair, you have asked quite a number of questions. So I don't know which one to start with.
Chair, you can finish. Those are the two on the limitation and on pending bills.
Yes,
I don't know if you have noted those. Yeah.
I think pending bills, the CEO should have the right answers. What I'm aware of is that in 2017, we had the commission had what do you call, in terms of pending bills, what happened is that the commission was given allocation, and we incurred against the budget given in 2017. And then when it came to payment, about was it about 1.72 million shillings, 2 billion shillings, which the CEO should have the figures. We loaded the payments up to internet banking level. That was after the general elections. And then the Treasury then decided not to give us the exchequer. And that created the pending bills that time. It's a problem which has persisted up to date. We have been, of course, had numerous correspondence with the Treasury, but that has not been resolved. And I think the figures for pending bills, the CEO should have them. Maybe he can just finish that bit so that we move to the next question.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Chairman. For that. The total pending bill to date is 2.79 billion, Mr. Chairman. And the makeup of the same is that 1.65 billion is related to legal services pending bill. And then out of the balance is 1.067 is related to ICT. There are those firms that actually gave us service, including network service providers who have not been paid. So it's 1.067. And then there are the others, the small pending bills amounting to 75 million. So the total basically is 2.79 billion. The genesis of the same is what the chairman explained. It arose because as at 2017, we had some bills to pay. We had actually committed them up to FMIS level, but we are only waiting for exchequer. The exchequer was not given and they turned into pending bills. The legal bills, which is basically the biggest one, you can, Mr. Chairman, is because of the, even after the election, we continue also handling petitions, and also there are also accumulation of those bills. And that's why we have these pending bills. Throughout the period, I think we've been given up about 1 billion. For legal, we were able to liquidate the same, but the balance still remains, Mr. Chairman. So that is the story of the pending bill, and we are getting a lot of course, a lot of bashing from the suppliers and vendors who basically provide us the services, and the situation is not good, Mr. Chairman. We are being told to clear the pending bills by June, but we do not have the budget to pay the same. So it creates a very difficult condition for the Commission in as far as this situation is concerned. In fact, when we were presenting our budget, one of our assumptions was that we are saying that assumption of the Commission is that the pending bills will be funded and they'll have to be settled. If it is not settled, don't expect that the Commission is just going to do business as usual and will be able to deliver credible election, Mr. Chairman. That will be my comment on pending bills.
Chair, I'd like to suggest through you that in our next engagement, and we should have one before the end of the financial year if possible, or next week or the other week, as we bring in the registrar of persons, we also bring in treasury. Because, Chair, these are suppliers and lawyers who will still be needed as we move towards the election cycle. And it's really a bad picture. The service providers in terms of network providers are still the same ones. If it's Safaricom or Airtel, you'll still need them. And Chair, there's no goodwill if they've not been paid since 2017. So I suggest that we bring in the CS Treasury as well as the Accountant General. When an appropriation is done in an institution, especially an independent institution, gets its budget, it should not be a matter of, it's almost like a favor when they're asking for their money or they make exchequer requests. And we've been having discussions on some of these things. I'd suggest, Chair, maybe you can direct, or maybe in-house, that on that same meeting with the registrar of persons, we also bring in Treasury, the PS, CS, and the Director of Accounting Services, Chair. Thank you.
So, Charles, I think you take note of that proposal by Charles.
That is not
so that
Chair.
we flag it for our next meeting, so that we see how we convene a meeting from all those parties, so that we can find ways of resolving this matter. I fully agree with Senator Sakaja that when people offer services, they really ought to be paid. People have overhead, so it's not fair that you offer services to an institution, but when it comes to payment, your money is not paid. So make sure you flag it for discussion, maybe in our meeting tomorrow.
That is noted, Chair.
Yeah, very well. I think that's fair, Senator Sakaja. We can make progress.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we go back to Chairman Iebc.
Yes,
there are a number of issues you need to respond to, I think.
Yes, Chair, maybe just on the issue you raised on the Supreme Court matter. The Commission has prepared a report on the reflections of the Supreme Court, as well as our experiences in 2017 elections. That report was shared with the two speakers of parliament, and it's also on our website, the Iebc experience. And it's a report which on every topic we have suggested legal reforms that now will cure any other matters related to elections. I think the issues on Supreme Court, I would request that Chair, you perhaps make a day or another meeting so that we now take you through not just the issue of ballot papers alone, but on what the Commission feels should be lessons learned and what we should do next. Because there are a number of issues that arose in 2017, which require legal reforms before the next elections, or which require some, at the Commission level, we have tried to manage and address them. But I think it's important that we take you through all the issues that we identified from 2017 going into 2022. And it's not just the issue of ballot papers alone. There are a number of other issues. So instead of just dealing with only ballot papers, perhaps my request is that you arrange next meeting, we do a write-up to you, then we do a presentation on the issues of legal reforms as a topic of its own. I don't know how you
Okay, yeah, Chairman, it's okay, it's noted, but I hope as we meet, we'll be able to resolve that mystery of the 5 ballot that are never accounted for. But that's noted.
Yes, because it involves the debt emanated from 2017, and I would rather approach it. There's the issue of the boundary delimitation. What's the position of the Commission? I think we have issued the boundaries review operation plan, which was furnished to the committee, and what the team is doing now is undergoing or carrying on data collection in various counties. The whole idea of data collection is to ensure that we have, there's a variance of the sub-locations as against the wards, and we need to harmonize the data so that we can be able to map out the wards as well. And I think the director of the one in charge of boundaries with the CEO, they should have the statistics on how this is ongoing. I'm aware in the last meeting we had in the Senate that KNBS was there, and that hope that we shall have a joint team to address the issue has not materialized. But we have a team on the ground, a team of Iebc with the officers from Survey of Kenya undertaking this exercise. And I think the details I would want the CEO to share with us, with the committee. Marijan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would kindly ask that Dr. Catherine Kamindo, who is there, to basically address that issue.
Is she there?
Yes, she was actually there. Dr. Kamindo?
But as we wait for that, Chair, maybe I deal with the other issues of resignation of civil servants that was raised.
Yeah, you can deal with those issues, and
yeah,
if you are able, there are issues of Section 22 of the Elections Act on qualifications.
Yes.
And the election financing issues.
Yes, so Marjani, prepare your team for the issue of boundaries. Resignation of civil servants, the law provides that civil servants should resign 6 months to elections. I don't have the provision now, but I can get it. I'm aware that there was a judgment by a judge sitting in Kericho on a particular petitioner who had appeared before that court. So the court did not say, the court did not strike out the operation of the law, neither did it recommend anything other than making a ruling which only addressed that particular petitioner. And so that judgment is not for general application. And that's why the commission is guided by the existing law, which has not been changed. And the law simply says civil servants who want to take up elective position must resign 6 months to elections. And that's what has informed our election operation plan, that civil servants wishing to contest should resign by February 2022. That's 9th of February 2022. So the law remains the same, and Parliament has not changed it. And so that's why we have put the date of 9th February 2022. We have the issue of the decrease. Section 22 of the Elections Act is very clear, and it says that anybody wishing to contest should, for whether MCA or member of parliament, should have a university degree. The commission is a creature of the law, and we are guided by the law in everything we do. And that's why last week when we were launching a strategic plan, we simply reminded Kenyans, in fact, it's a Kenyan who asked that question, and we simply reminded Kenyans that they need to have a university degree, and that is in the law. And so I believe that I am aware that Parliament is discussing this issue, or perhaps I don't know whether that's the position at the moment, but I'm aware that the Commission perhaps will look at, the Parliament will look at the issue, but for us now at the moment, we shall enforce the law as it is. So Chair, I don't know whether there's any specific angle you want us to take, but for us, we shall just enforce the law unless there's a change in the law by Parliament. Now, there's the issue of audit of the register of technology, asked by Senator Mutula Kilonso. The last 3 years, we have been requesting for funds to audit the technology. Internally, as a commission, we did our own audit, and the company supporting the commission in technology also did their own audit. So those records are there. But for purposes of the Act, which provides that the technology must be audited annually, it requires, yes.
Chair. Chair. Chair.
Yes, Senator Mary Senator.
Chair, I just want to request you, because I told you from the beginning that I am joining another meeting, that I get my response to my questions written, and I should not expect a report. What I need are responses of my questions, specifically the questions I asked. When I was looking at what your clerk sent to me, I didn't get my responses. So let me get written responses to my questions and then sent to me by your clerk. I'm doing another committee meeting.
Hello. Senator Mary Senator. Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Senator Mary, Senator.
Yes, yes, Chair. Sorry for the interruption.
Did you get the write-up that was sent to us by
The write-up, Chair, the write-up is a whole story. It's a whole report. What I want is a breakdown of the responses according to the question asked.
Senator, what you could do is you can list what you think was not adequately captured, so that we ask the IEBC to include that response in their write-up.
Chair.
Yes, what is missing?
My request is let them give responses according to members' questions, not a report. What they've given to the committee is a total report which has a lot of information that I may not need. What I need is a specific response to a specific question, written and signed.
Charles, are you in the meeting? Charles, our clerk?
Chair, yes, I am.
What's your take on the issues being raised by Senator Mary, Senator?
Chair, the questions that the Senator had asked were covered in the response that was sent by IEBC. What I understand is that she would like the specific questions that she asked to be responded to in a document that is separate to the report sent to the committee.
Because if I understood the statement, she wanted a roadmap of activities leading to 2022 general elections.
Yes, Chair.
Number two, you wanted an answer.
Chair.
On IEBC, yes.
You are very right on what I wanted, but what I want is not a booklet from IEBC. It is a response specifically to every question. Are you getting me, Chair?
We hear you, Senator Mary, Senator.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, and you'll allow me to now join another committee meeting.
We will, but you know, ordinarily this meeting was to adequately respond to your statement. So it could have been nice for you to be present, but you can join the other meeting if you have some other serious commitments. Okay, we go back to Chair IEBC.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So on the issue of the Senator Mary Senator's responses, I don't know what, Chair, your direction is, because my understanding is a roadmap of activities leading 2020.
Yeah, okay. I think the only thing
is a long, it's a long highway. You have to cover.
Chairman. Yeah, maybe if you may allow me, I think maybe one is the same issue that was raised by Senator, I think that was Senator Sakaja. You need to pen your signature to the response that you sent us. And maybe she wants a summarized answer on the roadmap of activities leading to the 2022 general election. So I think, Chair, you can do a summary of all the activities, what you have told us, including the mass voter registration campaigns, issues of delimitation, if there will be any before 2022, those issues of resignation of people in the public service, the cleanup of the voter. I think she wants you to give us a schedule of activities leading to 2022 general election. And you see, she's a leader, she's entitled to those answers, so you can burn the midnight oil and reduce them into something that is in a summary and maybe in a table format. Yeah, I think Mary Senator, the second part has been captured. The idea of enforcing section 22 has been captured in the write-up. IBC simply saying that is the provision of the law and they are going to enforce it. The third one is the issue of annual report. I think they have forwarded the annual report to us, so that is captured. Maybe the only one I will ask them to give a supplementary answer will be question 1A on the roadmap of activities leading to the 2022 general elections. Yep. So, Chair.
Yes.
I think you just need to maybe reformat what you have sent to us. You reduce, she doesn't want this 13-page booklet. You reduce it into some activities that can be discerned when somebody is flipping through your response. I think that's something you can do, Chair.
Yeah, very well guided. Thank you, Chair. And
So when can we get that supplementary answer? Because we wanted to have these answers with the Senate by the time we resume the second week of July.
Very well, we can have them ready by next week, Wednesday next week.
Okay, and ensure that you sign them this time round.
Yes, we shall do that. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Then we can go back to there are a number of questions you are to respond to.
Let me just in summary say that the issue of audit of the electronic systems, we did a letter to the Senate on 3rd December 2018, which stated that we would have liked to engage an international firm to carry out the audit, but that did not happen up to now because of budgetary issues. But now that we have the election budget coming up, this will have to be done as a matter of priority once we are in funds. And so is the register of audit of the register of voters also must be undertaken well before the election. So that has to be done also. I believe that alongside this, there'll be the ongoing changes within the technology as far as the Commission is concerned. And one of the things which did not happen in 2017 but must happen now is integrating the BVR, which carries our register of voters, with the KIMS kit, which now carries the other components of technology. And that again is part of what the Commission is procuring, and we hope it will be in place before the general elections. So there are ongoing processes which we are working on as at the moment. Could I then, Chair, with your permission, go on the issue of campaign financing?
Chairman.
Chair, I don't know whether any senator has an issue before we move to the next issue on election campaigning. Anybody who has
Chairman.
an issue?
Chairman.
Yes, Senator Mtula. Yes, Senator Mtula.
The chairman is a very good lawyer, and I don't want him to escape this meeting by being very ambiguous. What budget had you requested for audit of the system? How are you going to then, using the existing amount that you have been given by Treasury, do the voter audit? How much had you requested for the audit of the register? How is it going to be available? Third one, how much is it that you need to, in terms of procurement, get what is called an integrated management system? Because the understanding is that you procured a system that does not have the technology, means you needed to have an application on the KIMS kit, so that then it has the registration, it has identification of voters, and it was also a voting machine for purposes of what we understood, the members of the committee, is an audit is a complete integrated system. That is what we envisioned for purposes of the general elections in 2017. Now, in your reflections to the speakers, I'm just wondering, Mr. Chebukati, how can you have reflections to the Speaker of the Senate and National Assembly if you have not done the audit of the electronic management system, which was in fact the cause of the repeat of the presidential election? If you have not done an audit of the register, what reflections were these? Or it is like a fireside chat you are sending to them? I don't understand.
Yes, Chairman.
Yeah.
What's your take?
How much was requested for? I think the management team should give the figures. Marijan, I would ask you to give the figures if you have them. If not, then we should dig them out and do a communication to committee.
But more importantly, Mr. Chairman, you must be able to tell this committee, and largely because the media is in the meeting, you're informing the public more than you're informing us. How fast can you do these things? We are concerned as members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee about preparations for elections. It's important. There must be a timeline. You had 1 year, you have taken 3. So are you going to take another 3? It's important you tell us how long this will take. Thank you.
So, Chairman, are you able to tell us where you are, and if you need more time, how long do you need? And can you assure Kenyans?
The issue of audit.
Can you assure Kenyans that this technology that you procured, I mean, Kenyans want to get an assurance that they didn't get a raw deal. Chairman?
This issue of technology is now an ongoing procurement issue, and I think it will be finalized soon. The KIMS kit which you have has a capacity to integrate the voter register in it. It's just a software issue, and I think that is part of what is the ongoing process of procuring a service provided to assist in that area. And as I said, we have the technical team which can give more detail on that. I don't have, I think Marjan and his team can give more detail on that. But there's issue, there's no cause for worry. I think it will be done in good time, way before the elections.
This is, I think Senator Mtula wants a specific timeline.
On the issue of audit of the technology?
Yes.
When
will it be done? I mean, so that Kenyans can...
I would perhaps ask to answer that question, because I don't have the team with me where I am, but it should be part of the program of activities lined up by our ICT department. Marjan, do you have the answer to that?
Marjan, can you give us a timeline, please?
Yes, Chairman, maybe before I even give you timeline, there was the technical guy on boundaries that was waiting.
Can you put you need to be on your video so that we can see you also.
Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to optimize the network because of the challenges of the technology. But
this matter is being captured. This matter is being captured on media, so we need to see you. Yes.
So I'm saying that I had wanted the director in charge of research, development, and boundaries to respond to the boundary issue first, because she has another engagement. She wanted at least to dash. So we give her a chance to respond to that issue, and then we move back to the issue of technology.
Can you tell us the timeline first, even as we move? Issue of timeline.
I think Mr. Chairman gave that response last time when he said that by May next year.
Chairman has just referred the question to you.
And I still want to refer to his answer because he's basing it on timelines that we had given in our elections operations plan and our strategic plan, that by May, the audit of the register will have been done. By May
so
next year.
The period you are giving us is May 2022.
Yes.
May 2022.
Yes, and that will be after the mass voter registration, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
The register of the voter. But
Senator Mtula, I think you have heard the period is May 2022.
But I'm not sure whether CEO Marjan is aware of the law we put in place in terms of inspection of the register, in terms of making it public, because when you say May 2022, is easily the time when your register should be ready for inspection. So what if you conduct an audit of your register and you find that it has 1 million voters who are not supposed to be there? What are you supposed to do when members of the public are supposed to, in fact, at that time, start inspecting your register? if you recall the timelines about what we put in on the timelines. So similarly, on the technology, you know the timelines for procurement are already inputted in the law, whether it's a ballot papers or technology. Now, if your timelines read May 2022, which is 4 months to the elections, what are you supposed to do if you discover the technology that we were given by Safran Morpho is not competent for purposes of the general elections coming in 3 months? What are you supposed to do? You know, these questions we are asking, Mr. Marjan, may appear very academic, but it is pointing out to whether or not you are going to use this same technology for purposes of the general elections. If you recall, we had a disputed clause called Section 44A created by Iebc and propagated by members of the Jubilee Party about complementary mechanism a few months to the general elections, which was suggesting we move away from technology and go back to manual, where somebody from Moyale gets after the election, walks all the way to Nairobi to send you the results. So it's important that when you put in a timeline, you figure out the question of, if you find the register is wrong, what do you do? If you find the technology is wrong, do we procure another technology or do we abandon it? Now, the internal audit that you have done, what does that internal audit say about a fellow who you could not wake up in France when he was required by the Supreme Court? That is the same thing that the chairman is asking. There are serious concerns. And I must remind all of you, including the chair, that the stability of this nation is pegged on how the confidence that Kenyans have on your preparedness. This is important. And we're asking these questions so that when we go out to the public, we tell them, please prepare for the next general elections, which are in August. Thank you.
So, Banasio.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You know, I cannot really overemphasize the issues that are being raised by Senator Mutula. We call you for this form of engagement so that we create a forum for you to reassure Kenyans, to build confidence on the process leading to the 2022 general elections. That's why we ask for these answers. Like you can hear Senator Mutula is now raising a very genuine concern. You want to finish this process in May when Kenyans should be inspecting the register, you know? And that's why I was also asking the chair that have we resolved that issue of the issues that were coming up from the Supreme Court election petition? And I'm happy that the chairman has said we pick a day when we'll discuss all these issues. But can you try to adequately respond to these issues that are being raised by Senator Mutula, please?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Mr. Senator Mutula, for the clarification. I believe what I said is about the register. We were talking about by when will basically the register will have been checked and completed. The issue of technology, I think we talked about it. We said the reason why we have not been doing it, and I wish we were able to do it, was because of lack of budgetary. We have budgetary constraints, and which we indicated. And in first, if you don't have budget, there is no way you are going to do an audit. And this audit, remember, it is also required to be done by an independent institution. So even the one that we have done was basically just to try and see that if there are anything that we can be able to handle at our level at this juncture. And that is where we teamed up our internal audit plus Ministry of ICT, at least to give us some form of assurance if things are okay or things are not okay. And I've stated it before. This matter has been tabled in the audit committee. It has not been discussed. So at the moment, Mr. Chairman, I'm not in a position to, because it has not even been sent to me. It was requested by the audit committee. It was sent directly to the audit committee. The audit committee is yet to deliberate on the same. On the issue of voter registration model, Mr. Chairman, our chairman put it correctly that what we have currently is a KIMS kit, KIMS kit with the other modules, that is the candidate registration management system, no, the results transmission system and identification system. The voter registration module is an application that can just be uploaded, and even in the current tender that's actually going on, as what Mr. Chairman said, one of the requirements is that the voter registration module should also be there. So the tendering process is going on, and we've started early, Mr. Chairman. We've also, in a bit to ensure that we are not caught on flat foot, Mr. Chairman, even in terms of ensuring that we have KIMS kit, for example, as and when we require them, we've loaded it separately and put it as framework contracts, so that as and when we need additional kits, we are able to get them by just issuing a local purchase order. So the tendering process, we have started it early, Mr. Chairman, to ensure that at least we comply with the law, because we recognize that if we don't do it early, then we may have a challenge, Mr. Chairman. And I believe the reason
so with that May deadline, does that May deadline still leave you with that option of complying with the law?
Mr. Chairman, yes, Mr. Chairman, that is the end date, Mr. Chairman. But when you say end date, does not mean that is the start date. We can even start early and finish early. You remember even last time, Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of the register of voters, which was done by KPMG, we still had time before that, so that we actually now send the same file for verification. And there was only one constituency. I think it's because of the by-election that was going on. That is the area that we only suspended, but the other areas were able to go and verify their details. So, Mr. Chairman, that is the end date that is given, but the activity can start as early as possible, bearing in mind that the Kenyan voters need to verify their details, and if there are any corrections to be done, they need to be given at least 1 month for the same to be completed.
Okay, very well. Okay, very well. Any other issues, Senator Mtula? We're going to go back to election campaign.
Mr. Chairman, I requested that our boundaries team be given
okay,
maybe 2 minutes for them to respond to the issue.
Okay, it's all right. We allow them to respond.
Dr. Catherine Kamindo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The question that I was supposed to clarify is what is happening on the ground, the aspect that the chairman had mentioned on collection of data. We commenced collection of data in Machakos County last week, and what is being done is consulting the chiefs on the sub-locations, especially the new ones. And the team is still going on, and this data after the data on the new sub-locations, then
can you also put your camera on, please? Okay.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I'm attending this meeting from a vehicle because I was on the move.
Yes.
What I'm saying is the data collection is ongoing. The team has been in Machakos County last week and this week, and tomorrow it's moving to Iebc County. Then thereafter, in the new financial year, then the data collection will commence in the rest of the counties. And we are doing this with the Ministry of Interior because they are the creators of the sub-locations. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Well, that is it. Very well. Senator Mtula, any question there?
Yes. The question on KNBS is still not addressed. KNBS said that they have collected the information regarding using the population census. So how far, in terms of collection of data, what is the difference between what the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics are collected and what you are doing now? It appears therefore, I mean, you are easily just duplicating what they are doing.
Thank you, Chairman. The data collection that is being done is not the population data. It is on the sub-locations. And one of the aim of collecting this data is to, because you remember when we appeared together with the KNBS, we did indicate that there are some areas where there was a discrepancy between the way the units as defined by KNBS and the units as defined by the Iebc, the electoral units. And one of the aims of collecting this data is actually to establish, one is to establish where the discrepancies were. For instance, there are areas where we did indicate that we had about 695 areas where there was a slight difference in terms of the boundaries as they are by Iebc and the boundaries as they were used by the KNBS. So by collecting this data, then we'll be able now to see where the discrepancies is, and then the harmonization can be done. And I think we also indicated that the last meeting that we had with KNBS, we did agree that the Iebc boundaries will be used, and that is why the chairman mentioned that there is a technical team that is supposed to be formed between Iebc and KNBS so that we can harmonize this data. Thank you.
So is there any problem between you are working together with KNBS so that this issue is resolved?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think there's any problem because we did hold a meeting of the technical team, and there was that agreement that we are going to work together to harmonize the boundaries as they are. So there's no problem.
Okay. Okay. Senator Mtula, any supplementary question?
Kamindo.
Yes,
your timelines are just baffling on review of electoral boundaries timelines.
Yes.
And just permit me to read so that you can then explain to us why this one. There's some procurement of GIS equipment, end date 25th of February 2021. Geodatabase update, data collection administrative units. You are supposed to have completed it in 10th of April 2021. Are we together so far?
Yes.
Training of emerging delimitation technology. In fact, that should have been completed on 10th of January 2021. The legal activities on legislation and rules was Monday, April 19, 2021. So are we together so far?
Yes, we are.
Right now, this is where my problem is. Data collection and electoral boundaries review is April 15, 2021. End date, February 23, 2024. Are we together so far?
Yes, we are.
Number 6, and then you skip the general elections and you can see it goes to 2023. Why is there such a discrepancy and large timelines between what you should have completed in April 2021 and now, so that you can convince Kenyans why we cannot have new constituencies by the time of the elections? Insofar as these deadlines are concerned in your report, ideally, the limitation that is in Article 289 should have been completed. Means that as at August 2021, which is exactly 12 months to the general elections, these things should have been in place according to your own timeline here. Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator Mutura. When the timelines were formulated, they were formulated within an ideal situation. And I think the chairman commented earlier on that we do our timelines, we do our requests, but there are times when the exchequer is delayed, and therefore you cannot be able to commence with some of these activities without the exchequer.
Chairman, Ms. Kamindo can now answer, now that we have the schedule number 1 to 7. Where are we as a country on this? Where are we? At what point on these activities are we?
Mr. Chairman, we are
Chairman, Ms. Kamindo can now answer, now that we have the schedule number 1 to 7. Where are we as a country?
Can you see the schedule on the screen?
Yes, I can see it, Chairman.
So if you take us from number 1 up to 8, where are we?
The procurement of the GIS data, that is number 1. That is ongoing. Some of it has been completed, completed. Then we
and you speak a bit louder so that we can hear you properly, please. We can't hear you.
Okay, Chairman. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yep.
The geodata update collection is ongoing.
We can't hear you, please. We cannot hear you.
Chairman, I'm saying number 2 is ongoing. Number 3, the training on emerging delimitation technologies. Some of it was done last year. There's trainings that are scheduled. So we can also say that is ongoing. The legal activities, some of the legal reforms or registrations were actually presented by the legal department. Then the data collection on electro review is a continuous process, because after this initial data collection, then we should be able, after the whole collection, then we should be able to finalize number 5, that is data collection and electro boundaries review. So this one will it was supposed to start in April 15th, but it is ongoing. Then from there we'll post until.
Sorry, Chairman. According to what you said, Ms. Kamindo, before,
yes,
you are only collecting data on 695 locations, correct?
No, that is not correct, Mr. Chairman. What I said was the 695 is what we found to have discrepancies. But for the purposes of delimitation or review of the electoral boundaries, the data collection has to be done in the whole country. And that's what we did say, that we have started with Machakos. This week we are in Embu, and then thereafter in the new financial year, it will be rolled out in the whole country. So it's not the 695. The 695 is where we say there were discrepancies in terms
so
of.
So, Ms. Kamindo, I have a question for you, and perhaps you can help us. Assuming for whatever reason, the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court approves the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020.
Yes.
In view of this calendar, what is Iebc going to do? Because the chairman said that if the Iebc, the BBI bill is approved, then they will have to act on it. Now, going by your own timelines, it appears, therefore, that you will not be able to do it if the Court of Appeal then approves and we have a referendum. What are the contingency measures that Iebc has put in place in the event that that bill goes through? Because it is an event that you must put in mind, irrespective of its outcome currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the question that Senator Mutula has asked, the Commission is actually aware of that. And in case the BBI becomes law, then we'll be expected to review the 70 constituencies, the additional constituencies.
Yes, even as you say that you will review,
Yes.
You have said that for data collection,
Yes.
you need 1,044 days.
Yes. For the whole country.
Data collection and analysis.
Yes.
For the whole country.
Yes.
So that you factor issue of how we should distribute population per constituencies.
Yes.
So then, are you being practical when you are telling us that even if BBI was to pass, you can finish this exercise and have these constituencies in place by the time we go to the elections next year, in August 2022? Is it practical?
Mr. Chairman, the KNBS data, the Commission has already analyzed the KNBS data, and it is in place. In terms of data collection for the delimitation of the 70 constituencies that are envisaged in the BBI, the contingency measure that is in place is if this becomes law, as we are continuing collecting the data, the Commission will team up with the Survey of Kenya, and we've already had a meeting with them. We have already contacted them, and the collection of data in the 70 constituent envisaged areas would take a shorter time than what we are seeing.
Anyway, excuse me, Chairman and Secretary.
Chairman.
Yeah, I'm fairly struggling to hear what Ms. Kamindo is saying. So maybe Marijan, you can maybe take over, because I'm struggling to hear what she's saying. Chairman, IBC. I can't hear what your technical officer is saying.
Chairman.
Yes, Senator Mtula.
In fact, perhaps the chair should come in now.
More useful that way, because we can't hear what she's saying.
Yes, but even then, Chairman, you know, I've had some people out there who, I mean, in the marketplace, talking about postponing elections. And this is central to the presidential elections, because presidential elections are held in constituencies. So if there is a review of this timeline, Mr. Chairman, please, Madam Marjan cannot then say we are going to change, we are going to do this. Ideally, the Commission should assure this committee and the country largely that based on that constitutional bill, there is a revised schedule, because this schedule that they have given is completely impractical insofar as the general elections are concerned. So perhaps they can review this and we deal with it later, because although I've heard what Marjana said about meeting Survey of Kenya, dealing with the Ministry of Interior, etc., those are very abstract statements that, strictly speaking, cannot go onto record. There must be some certain specific timeline of what they will need to do in case they need to put 70 constituencies in place. In fact, Chairman Chebukati should assure the country that we can have the 70 constituencies and the general election in 2022 without moving a date. That is the sort of assurance that we are looking for, not anything else. Thank you.
Chairman, as you respond, I think there is a number of contradictions. I don't know whether I should trust Mrs. Kamindo or I should trust Marijan, because Marijan said it is practically impossible to finish the delimitation exercise by next year elections. And I did say that we want to trust your professional opinion on this, so that as the body in charge of this process, you are able to tell us if it's not practical that you are able to finish this exercise, which really is premised on the fact that we'll amend the constitution to increase the constituencies, and that the court will be able to conclude this exercise before August of this year. We are at a loss, you know. Ms. Kamindo says you can adjust the timetable and have the 70 constituencies in place. The CEO says that is not practical. So I don't know what position we are going to take as a committee, whether we trust your technical staff, Kamindo, or we take what we have received through your memorandum, which says that this exercise cannot be complete before March 2023. So Chairman, which position should we take?
Yeah.
You are sending us mixed signals.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We're looking at the matter in court in the Court of Appeal, and as far as the Commission is concerned, this matter is sub judice, and we cannot possibly, as a Commission, now plan on a matter which is in court and say this is what we shall do or this is not what we shall do. I think, in all fairness, our planning and the election, the boundaries operation plan is based on the legal framework which we have and the practical issues which we have as a commission. But all we are saying as a commission is this, that should the law change, then we shall try as much as possible and comply with the law. Now, that is as far as that matter is concerned. And I think I would not want to tell the country that we shall do this or we shall manage this within the limited time. But we are a creature of the law. Let's wait and cross the bridge when we get there. Yeah, I think that is all I wish to say about this issue, which is pending in the Court of Appeal.
That is not very reassuring, Chairman. In view of what Madam Kamindo said, extremely unreassuring, Mr. Chairman, because what you have just said is exactly the opposite of what your officer is saying. So perhaps, Chairman, my own view is, in order so that we don't become carriers of bad news or doom, the Commission must come back to the committee with concrete information based on what the technical people are saying, and so that we are clear on the preparedness for the election in the event the Court of Appeal either nullifies the judgment of the High Court. There must be a plan, and that plan is important for the country. Thank
you. Okay, Chairman. Any other comment on that? Remember the official document that you sent to us. You have said that they will be completed in March 2023. That's the official document that is in our hands.
Yes.
So that we take that to be your official position.
Yes, that based on the fact that this exercise has to be undertaken throughout the whole country, and that is the official position of the Commission. Okay, thank you, Chair. I think we can then proceed to other issues, but maybe next time, so that we're able to have a meaningful meeting, your technical officer should be prepared to be in a place where, they're able to communicate to us in a manner that we can hear and from a proper setup than what's happening this morning. I think well Chair, because even if your meeting is virtual, it should have some semblance of being official. There are some things I don't want to say here, but please, when we are saying we are doing a meeting virtual, it doesn't mean that we should make it look so casual, really, Chair. Otherwise, we'll be forced to say we need physical meetings next time so that we have officers who are attending in a meeting and giving it the seriousness that it requires. Let's proceed to the next issue. Well noted, Chair. And time I'll make sure we sit in the same boardroom wherever we are for purposes of that harmony. Would I then request to go on the Campaign Financing Act? Yeah, I think you can proceed to the Election Financing Act. Yes, thank you, Chair. I think the mandate of the Commission is clear. Article 8841, that the Commission is responsible for regulating the amount of money that may be spent on by or on behalf of a candidate or a party in respect of any election. And the Election Campaign Finance Act was enacted in 2013, providing for regulation, management, expenditure, and accountability of election expenses during elections and referendum campaigns.
2016.
Sorry, 2016.
2016, Chairman.
Sorry, thanks for the correction. Now, there was an amendment to Section 1 of that Act done by Parliament by adding Section 1A, which provided that the operation of the Act is suspended and the Act shall come into force immediately after the general election to be held in 2017, meaning that this Act should be operational in the next, the 2022 general election next year. But in 2016, the Commission developed the campaign finance regulations, which were to be tabled before the National Assembly for debate. But the Act having been suspended, and the reason for suspension was that it was not implementable. And as such, Parliament then stopped debate on the regulations that had been submitted by the Commission. Now, as a result of that, what has the Commission done between then and now? The Commission developed amendments to the Act for purpose of making it operational, and we had a meeting with the Justice Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly. We flagged out various aspects of the Act that required review. And that Act, which is the draft amended Act, is lying in the National Assembly before the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Among the key aspects of the amendments include a self-regulatory mechanism, which puts emphasis on political parties to present proper accounts to the Commission, and a proper definition of contribution and expenditure period to align with the election timelines, and addressing issues of sources of contributions in Harambes, among many other issues, and especially the issue of the campaign, how to arrive at the formula for the funds, the limit of funds to be used by candidates. So this draft is before the National Assembly. We haven't had anything happening to it. So as we speak, we have an Act which is supposed to be implemented in 2022. It cannot be operationalized because there are no regulations. Parliament says we should have it reviewed, and the Commission has a draft review which is lying in the National Assembly. So as we speak, then we can't proceed unless the amendments are done, and then the regulations attendant to those amendments are also brought in place. So Chair, that is the portion of the Election Campaign Financing Act.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Senator Mtula.
I'm just wondering out aloud, Chairman Chebukati, why did you see it fit not to send the said regulations to the Senate? If perhaps you're not aware, and I can remind you, the election of members of county assembly is a special jurisdiction of the Senate. If you look at Article 96 and others. Similarly, all the proposals that you have made, you have not deemed it fit to share with this committee, and I may remind you that it's possibly the only committee that has senior counsels in Parliament. That is not to brag, but I'm just wondering loudly why your committee, your secretariat didn't see it fit to send it to this committee.
Chair, can I answer that? I think it's an oversight, and it's not too late in the day, we undertake to furnish the same document to the committee as at the earliest possible. I think it's an oversight on the part of my team.
On top of your head, Chairman, is it possible to tell us what is the view of the Commission on the expenditure a presidential candidate should meet? Because you know that is key to ensuring that we don't have illegal money in the system. What would you say?
Chair, at the moment, I'm not able to say the figure. I think there's a formula developed based on cost drivers by the team, and I would not want to state a figure at the moment until...
Nobody in this meeting from Iebc is aware about that figure?
I would want to approach it this way, that the proposals, I would want them to go through the commission plenary, then we can disseminate them to the Kenyan public. I would not
what did you send to the National Assembly?
What we said to the National Assembly is we amended the substantive law. Now, that substantive law does not have figures. It just states that at every general election, the commission then shall come up with a figure which will be reviewed from time to time because of the changes in our way of life and the situations. So then the regulations will come in to have those figures. Now the regulations have not been developed, but again, there's a formula which will be used to arrive at the figures for purpose of the regulations.
In terms of your election timelines, because we called you to this meeting because of preparedness for the election, and we need, if you have people must resign by February of 2022, surely they must know how much money they should set aside for the elections. Chairman.
Chairman, we have an
Chair Iebc, we have seen your formula, eh?
Yes.
We saw your formula in your memorandum, but I think what Senator Mutula is saying, you know, like for presidential candidate, those factors don't change. It's the same. You are a presidential candidate for the same country, same population. The demographic is the same. The geographical features you will traverse as you campaign is the same. So what Senator Mutula is saying is Kenyans need to hear the figure, the projected figure from Iebc. The parliamentary campaigns or senatorial, gubernatorial may change because of differences in features, but what are you looking at for presidential candidates?
Chair, two things. One, I'll share with the Senate the amendments to the Act, and hopefully the Senate will fast track them so that we have a law in place upon which then we shall be able to develop these regulations and that schedule of figures, which then we shall share with the rest of, the country. At the moment, I don't have the figures, and the way we operate, that will be a decision then made by the Commission, and we have not made that decision.
I mean, what I'm saying, Chair, with your formula, you can arrive at a limit in Kenya shillings, scientifically, because you have a formula in place.
Yes, that may be so, but I would need the team to work it out and give me those figures, which then we can share. I don't have the figures with me at the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
So Senator, anything? I think,
Chairman, therefore it means that the question of Mary Senator is not answered substantively. That is what she was saying, because what the commission has given us is completely abstract. On page 7, 6, and 7, the commission should have said through the chair that they have come up with a formula, they have not sat at plenary, they don't have a draft. So for purposes of election campaign, they have no figure. And they tell us by September of this year, they will tell Kenyans how much each presidential candidate should ideally set aside, or if they are going to raise funds, they should disclose from whatever sources they have raised funds. You know, then the question by Mary Senator is answered. For now, ideally, Chairman, this question is not answered.
I think, Chair, you agree with that conclusion by Senator Mutula?
Chair, I would want to say that we have answered the question the best of our ability, to the extent that unless there are amendments, unless Parliament, National Assembly and Senate unlock this amendment, this act will be impossible to operationalize. Now, it will put us again back to, we have a court judgment which says it stopped us from operationalizing this act until those amendments are done. So
amendments or regulations?
Regulations, sorry. So it is a chicken and egg situation. Let Parliament do the amendments, but for purposes of sharing and regulations, that is an issue the Commission undertakes to do within the shortest time possible. So I think we are saying, can we have amendments done at the earliest possible? The Commission will then, like yesterday, have the regulations and the figures available to the Parliament, and then we can move on. That is
okay. Then, Chairman, the committee will direct that you share. Will direct that you share the amendments with us and the regulations. But you also will have to do a fresh write-up in response to the questions that were sent to you, and append your signature, because what we have is not signed. It's just a booklet, so that we will fix another date next week when you officially and that memorandum or response to us, which will guide our answers to the Senate when we reconvene. So I think there are a number of issues that have not been adequately responded to. We need a proper timetable on activities geared towards credible elections in August of 2022. So I think, Chairman, we have agreed on that one. You will prepare a fresh template with a set of activities and timelines, and then send it over to us. On Section 22 of the Elections Act, I think you have adequately responded to that one. You are simply enforcing the law. The major one will be the roadmap on activities, the annual plan we have. So I think that remains a pending matter, and we will request that you do that and send it over to us. You said by when, Chairman?
That's up to Wednesday next week. Let me just check the date. That will be 30th of June.
So so you'll give us with the response by 30th of June.
Yes, Chair.
Can it come earlier? Not. Can it come earlier?
Yes, we can do that. I think on or before, even once it's ready, then we don't have to wait for that.
Yeah.
We can do it earlier.
Okay, fine.
That's the information we have.
Good. Okay, that's okay. So if we receive it earlier, the better for us.
Together with the amended the amendments to the Campaign Financing Act.
Yes, and the regulations. So we then agree that we have a number of issues that we'll set a meeting for, including the issues that arose from the Supreme Court. And then there are the other issues that were raised by Senator Sakaja. So we'll organize to set up another date when we can hold another meeting to maybe continue these discussions. For now, I think senators, unless anybody has an issue, we can release Iebc. Senator Mutula, you have an issue? Okay, so I think what we do, what we do is we can say that's enough for today. We leave it at that. Chairman, you will send us those the material that we have requested and a further response to the issues that were raised in our earlier communication by or on or before 30th of June, after which we will again convene for another meeting to discuss this matter further. Unless you have any issue from your end, I wish to end the meeting there. Chairman, unless you have any issue from your end.
There's no, just to thank you for this meeting. I think it's important that we discuss the matters election, because it will assist all of us to move forward to the as we go towards the 2022 general election. So thank you, Chair and the members for the meeting.
Okay, and from our end, we want to thank you for getting time to appear before us. These engagements are useful. We Kenyans and all of us expect nothing less from you than a free, fair, and credible election. So we want to ensure that we have engagements that help you in preparation of an election that can have the full confidence of the Kenyan people. So with that, that marks the end of our meeting today, and I wish all of you a fruitful day ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.